few weeks ago I created this cheap yellow display project. The aim was to show images directly from the SD card, but I wasn't able to do that. Instead, I opted out to add the images as bitmaps and then simply show the image as we select the team name from the drop down box. So I purchased a new screen which I call CYD35 because the screen display size is 3.5 inch long, and I tried the same project, or almost the same. As you can see, it's dropped down the fields and an image. Here I got the fields, an image here, and a roller. Instead of a drop down, I'm using a roller. The only difference here is you see it in the bitmap section, there are no images. If you go to the other one, it's full of bitmap, so it makes the memory lower. So I'm going to show you how we can load images directly from SD card and show it on CYD35. Remember, this is not CYD, the original one. This is the larger one with 3.5 inch screen. Everything is the same almost, just that there's a roller instead of a drop down box. So save it, build. You go to the actual EEZ Studio project. You will find here on the asset folder I included BMP 260, which is like the original image but converted to BMP, but it's 60% of the size. And then there's this folder, it contains full-sized images, but they're JPEGs. Now that we have built the EEZ Studio UI, we go to Source, UI, copy all the files, and then you go to your PlatformIO project, which I created. I called it EEZ_PIO image example. And then in the source, I also created a folder for UI, so all the UI stuff are kept separate from the actual code. So then paste everything into the UI folder. Notice there are no image.c files here, so everything will be read from the SD card. If you go to your, there are a few changes I had to make. One of them was, one of them was the LV config header file. I changed the LV mem size to 94 instead of 62 or 64. Yeah, I changed to 94. And the other thing is I have to enable one of the file systems. So in this case I'll be using FATFS, so I change that to 1 to enable it. And you have to specify a letter. It can be anything here. I put B, capital B as the letter. The other thing is I couldn't get it to work with PNG, so I set that to 0. I was able to get it to work with BMP and JPEG, so I enabled both these libraries. And as per usual, you have to copy the user setup header file into the TFT ESPI library. So I did that here. You will need to delete the existing one before you paste it. Now that we have configured the LVGL config file, what we will have to do is nothing actually changed in the main. Nothing actually changed in the main.cpp. It's exactly the same as the Arduino one. The only thing I had to comment out was, because it's not a drop down anymore, it's a roller, so I added an event for roller team names. So when we select one of the team names, the roller event handler is executed. There's nothing else here. So if you go to the utils folder, search for it. Here you can see the roller event handler. All it's doing is the usual stuff, getting the code, what generated this event, and if there's any labels that we need to update or any other GUI elements. Then we are getting the roller value, checking that it's not select a team. So if it is a select a team, we will ignore it. After that, we're getting team data, which if you see the cheap yellow display tutorial, I explained all these methods that we're using to load and populate the team's data. So here we got a teams array, so that gets populated beforehand. And if you go to the event handler, all that is doing is getting the team, getting the image path, which by default is the PNG, so we have to make small change. Yeah, in the load image from SD card method, I specified the FATFS. Where did it go? Yeah, FATFS letter for the drive, and then what I'm doing here is I have to specify, because I'm going to use the BMP folder, BMP260, that contains all the BMP image files. I said the file type is BMP and the folder name is BMP260. If you want to display the JPEG images, you need to change this to JPG. After that, this is the normal stuff. Here, if you have some issues, you should uncomment this and then run it again, so you'll print out some log, so you can see, maybe it can help you debug any failures. And we simply set in the path of the image, and that's really it. Now if you click upload, you'll see the final result. Now I will show you how we can create a PlatformIO project and then use the EEZ Studio C files to create a image viewer. First of all, I will use the template project. You can find it in CYD35 practice project templates, and that's the, so you need to clone that if you haven't already. So I'm going to copy this and paste it, give it a name, now I've renamed it. I will load it into my PlatformIO workspace. At the moment it's just a skeleton, so it's got no libraries or anything. Here in platformio.ini you can see all the libraries that we will be using. The other one I'll use is add upload port and change it to COM3, and in the project name, I'm going to select the project I just created. Once you select the project, notice that it starts automatically loading the libraries. The only thing we have to do is once the libraries have been loaded, download it into this folder. What we'll have to do is we'll have to add the config files. The good thing about PlatformIO is for each project you can add its own config, so you don't have to, it's flexible, so different projects can have different config files. Here it's saying fatal error, could not open COM4. COM4 doesn't exist. Okay, now it's built. I'm going to copy the config files that came with it. And first of all, the LV config has to be the same level as LVGL. So paste it here, and then the user setup header file needs to go into the TFT ESPI. I will delete the existing one and add my one. The difference is the driver is pointing to the driver for CYD35, and this is the driver we use for the normal CYD, the original one. Now that we've loaded the library, we can run it again.